Splatoon 3 is often criticized for its flaws. Certain aspects of the game easily become subjects of conversation within the community. I've even made videos about things such as Splatfests or map design. But for me, it's never to be negative for the sake of it. It's because I want to see this game become the best it can possibly be. I have 2,000 hours in Splatoon 3, and I still enjoy playing it because I think it's a great game with a ton of amazing features. So in today's video, I want to be more positive and talk about 6 things I love in Splatoon 3. While there are so many more features I like, I will be talking about some of my absolute favorites. The first thing I wanted to talk about is customizability, specifically with character appearance and splash tags. You can choose the appearance of your Inkling or Octoling with their hairstyle, skin color, eye color, and even their pants. The options might seem a bit limited, but I think there's enough choice to make a character that fits you. But something that I like even more is splash tags. These tags are unique to every player, and they can say a lot about who they are. You can choose to show off your achievements, show your passion for something, stick to some kind of color scheme, or maybe you want something entirely different. Either way, splash tags are a great way to show others who you are. No two tags are the same, and it's so fun to see all the different kinds of people that show up in my game. This is in the same vein as before, but I think gear deserves its own category. I'm sure you know by now that I like fashion, but I don't just like gear because it's yet another way to express yourself, it's also really useful. A lot can be done with all the different abilities and gear options. Some people like to focus on appearance and don't really care about abilities. Others prefer to have that optimal build and don't mind wearing the worst possible combination of gear. Or maybe they're like me and try to have a good outfit with good abilities. That, paired with what I mentioned earlier, gives you an identity. It's an extension of yourself in the game, and it makes every player unique. Gear can make people super recognizable, especially if they have a signature outfit that they wear often. Even though gear has mostly practical uses thanks to the abilities, there are still hundreds of options with a variety of styles represented through all the different gear in the game. Anyone can find something they like, and I love seeing people's style and personality through how they choose to dress their character. This next feature is a bit more specific: Big Run. Salmon Run is my favorite game mode, so it would make sense that Big Run is my favorite event, but I think it's done incredibly well. First, we get to play on PvP maps instead of the usual stages. It's really fun and refreshing to play on these maps that we usually see in a vastly different context, and that were clearly not made for Salmon Run but somehow still work. But we don't just play Salmon Run on these weird maps. We also get to see a new feature, like a new weapon or King Salmonid. This makes the event feel even more special, and it's always so exciting to encounter that new feature. I love when they add new King Salmonids because it's so chaotic, so fun, and everyone is just trying to figure out how to survive. The atmosphere during Big Run in general is also amazing. The plazas have a totally different vibe with the red sky, the flyers, the added fog, and the anxiety-inducing music. Inkopolis Plaza really stands out here for me because you can hear the sounds of King Salmonids, Boss Salmonids, helicopters, and even Mr. Grizz in the background. From the gameplay to the oppressive atmosphere, the attention to detail for Big Run is really impressive. The core gameplay may be the same, but it's in a different context and it feels like it actually matters thanks to the apocalyptic vibe. Now that I'm done with the Big Run propaganda, let's talk about a game mode that I think is criminally underrated: Tableturf. Tableturf is Splatoon if it was a card game. You have decks of cards that can be used on multiple different maps, and the goal is to have more turf than your opponent by the end of the game. This mode can be played against AI or other people via your friends list or pool system. When it was first announced, I didn't think I'd like Tableturf at all, but it's actually really good. I love this new approach for the gameplay and how all the cards represent different characters and aspects of the game. This was a great idea because it makes me want to collect all the cards and build a really cool deck with them. Another reason that I like Tableturf that I haven't seen anyone mention yet is because it's less overwhelming than the other modes. It still takes strategy and thinking, especially if you play it more seriously, but there's not as much going on the screen, and it's fantastic when you just want something more chill to play. This mode doesn't get the love it deserves because Nintendo fumbled big time with how they handled and promoted it. But go try out Tableturf if you haven't already, it's a great time, especially with friends. Let's move on to the music in Splatoon. Music is very important to me when it comes to games because it can make or break moments and set the tone. And the Splatoon soundtrack is amazing. I know it gets memed on a lot for being weird, but that's actually one of the reasons I love it so much. It's strange and unusual and very noisy sometimes, but it works really well. Of course, there's some tracks I like less than others, and some of the battle music has gotten a bit boring after hearing them thousands of times, but this game's music hits when it needs to. Here, I'm referring to the single-player tracks. All the boss music goes so hard and it makes the fights themselves much more impactful. And in a more general sense, there's music everywhere in Splatoon and it always fits. It always feels well thought out and it has this certain style that makes it so appealing, even if it's really out there or doesn't fit my taste sometimes. But overall, I love the music in the Splatoon series. And for those wondering, my favorite track is Bear With Me. And finally, I want to talk about my absolute favorite part of Splatoon, its world. Admittedly, many things in this series are incredibly weird, but they still function within the boundaries of the world it created. Splatoon and its world are very out there compared to other shooters, and it's thanks to that we have all these unique, fun features. From the movement, to the weapons, to the characters, and basically everything else, it's all thanks to how out of the norm the world of Splatoon is. I've always been into things that stand out and can be considered weird, and that's actually what pushed me to pick up Splatoon in the first place. I thought that the characters on the cover looked really strange, and that made me want to try it out. The world of Splatoon is unconventional and really fucking weird, yet it's still charismatic and makes sense. And that's why I've grown to love it. And that was 6 of my favorite things in Splatoon. I wanted to make a video like this because I never really get to share these things, because these topics wouldn't be interesting or long enough for a standalone video. But it was really fun to talk about all these features I like. I mean, where else would I yap about Big Run? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what your favorite things in Splatoon are. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.